Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff spoke with National Guard troops at Union Station in D.C. Listen to what the VP had to say about that visit. Roll it.
So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president and some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit. And actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
The great Shannon Bream is here in studio in New York City. Great to see you, Shannon.
It is great to be with you, David and Adam, in person.
Yeah. Well, Trump's crackdown is appearing to be working at this point. What took so long? And are D.C. residents happy about what's happening in their own city that they were getting afraid of?
A lot of them will tell you yes. Others, there are protesters and those who say this is a takeover, it's authoritarian, we don't want this here. I got to tell you, though, when I walked into Union Station yesterday to catch my train to come here, it was like a makeover I had not seen in years.
Really?
There were not a lot of people that were there in not great shape or hassling you or anything uncomfortable that we've gotten used to, that's just how Union Station is. It startled me almost, and we stopped and said, thanks to the troops that were there. But, because D.C. is a federal district, there's always this tension between the local leaders and the power that the White House and the House has over some of what they do there. I think what the left is worried about is kind of this hinting from the White House and from others that this may spread to other cities. There may be troops in other cities. But remember, our voter analysis showed us in the last election, people gave Republicans and this president quite an edge when it came to crime and law and order.
Security
and so
in general is a big concern of voters still. Another one for you, Shannon. Listen to what FBI Director Kash Patel had to say about the Mar-a-Lago raid way back in 2022. Listen.
It was a total weaponization and politicization by the FBI and DOJ in the Biden administration dating back to the Obama administration that led not only to Russiagate, as you opened up with, but to the invasion of Donald Trump's private home in Mar-a-Lago. There was, as we now know, thanks to the federal courts, there was no constitutional basis to do so. There was no lawful predicate to open that investigation. We are now showing and exposing again the weaponization.
So will there be accountability? Will there be a referral of charges here?
I think you've always got to manage people's expectations because people get excited about investigations, especially coming through Congress or some of the federal agencies, and they can be disappointed if it doesn't end up the way that they expect or hope that it would end up. But remember, what the president's critics are going to say is Mar-a-Lago was about this fight with the National Archives over documents, and that was something that had played out back and forth for months before they showed up there. But more broadly, when the FBI director was talking about Russiagate, we've learned so much in these documents that DNI Gabbard and others have released that there was a lot more to the conversation and the documents and what we knew in advance. So I think to his point, they're really digging in to see if there should be some kind of accountability for how that came together.
Well, it was the raid itself. We're looking at pictures of that raid, and you did not see anything like that with regard to the documents that President Biden had. I mean, that's the point. It was just totally unbalanced. I just got to ask you one more about something that's come in the news economically. That's the idea of using something called pocket rescissions to get really big, like $100 billion budget savings in there. Some people say, no, the Supreme Court already decided in 1996 against a line item veto by the president, which is essentially what this is. Will that rule it out? Do you think that it's unconstitutional?
Well, that 96 case involving President Clinton, what the court said is the president can't go in and slice and dice and take parts out of a law that Congress had duly passed. Now, with this rescissions package that they're doing, President Trump can make suggestions, but Congress then has to pass this rescissions package. So there is an act of Congress that gets it to the president's desk.
Yeah, well, with the pocket rescissions, they get around Congress in a very interesting way, but we'll have to see whether that is ruled unconstitutional or not, and we'll have to see you on Sunday, Fox News Sunday this weekend, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's also on local times too, so I get a little confused.
It's all day long.
Vary on
Depends
your
on where
local
you
Fox
live.
channel, but you can always see it at 2 p.m. Eastern on Fox News.